Yes, there is mature language in Thespian, quite a lot of it, actually. This scene was actually one of the last things that we shot was this scene, them at their father's grave.
This is my excellent Photoshop
Yes,
skills.
because that is my
I
actual
don't say so myself.
father's grave, and we turned Stephen Unger into Walter Kellner. In fact, the reason why Kellner is named Kellner is because we thought we might have to just block it, and we were just going to use the E and the R. But I think that scene really, ultimately that wasn't meant to be in the first episode, but we decided to put it there. It was just a nice way to set the series in motion. So she comes by with the CD. She asks him, why he stopped doing comedy. Then we see the look on his face, and now we're going to find out why. And that's why we cut back to 10 months earlier. So this is actually shot at Magooby's Joke House in Timonium, Maryland. Bart Dubicki playing Adam Kellner's brother. That's Karago Bota, and Nikki Estridge, who we'll talk more about. She plays Abby, Adam's wife. The stuff that was shot in front of the crowd was we didn't get like a bunch of extras. We actually shot in front of a Magooby's crowd on a Thursday or a Friday night. I don't remember exactly what day it was. And I asked the headliner if it'd be okay if I went up there, and we had the film crew with us. We told the audience that, hey, we're making a TV show, and if you'd like to be a part of it, here's your chance. And I think they did a really good job. They seemed like they actually were at a comedy show.
Yeah, they did. It was nice of the comedian to let us steal his thunder for a few minutes. I don't remember who the comedian was.
I don't remember who it was either. I have no idea. I think it was somebody that I knew, though, so I felt comfortable asking if it was okay. Oh, this is the classic Adam peeing scene, which is actually Apple Juice and Patrick Stork, who at this point in the production was our sound guy, kind of our everything guy. It was really important to him that the apple juice look authentic. I think we did more takes of the apple juice than we did like some of the serious dramatic scenes.
Yes, it was very, very detail oriented. Had to be the right color.
And really the stuff you just saw with Adam and his phone, and this is a man named Adam on his 50th birthday. That was kind of the starting point for the whole series. This idea, that this poor schmuck is recording himself on his phone, and he doesn't even know what he's going to do with it at this point, but he wants to be creative in the best way he can, but his comedy career is in the toilet. And then it's his birthday here, and he goes to visit his father's grave. This actually was
our first day shooting.
Our first scene shot. I think it might have been the only scene we shot that day. This was shot opening day, Baltimore Orioles opening day in 2017. At least the cemetery part, not the Bart Dubicki part. That was shot later. And I remember very, very vividly our makeup person, Lori Travis, coming to our house, sitting me in a chair, putting makeup on me, and then she rushed out the door because she wanted to go see the Orioles play. That's back when people were still seeing the Orioles play. I think that might have been the last year people came to see the Orioles play. But then we went out and we shot a cemetery scene. And I think Michael Walls, who shot the first episode, we were still at this point using pretty basic cameras, right? We used a Canon, it was a 5D. Some people have said to me, it starts in a cemetery. Isn't that kind of downer? Well, no. I mean, yes. Right? I mean, what do you agree with that assessment?
I think it starts in a cemetery, but it's Adam's birthday, and there's humor. I don't think it's overly.
I think it helps set up the soul of the show. You've got this guy at his father's grave.
Right. I think it's intriguing.
There's clearly a contentious relationship, even in death. We hear the father's voice. This is the voice that Adam hears in his head. It's the way he remembers his father. And if you haven't figured it out, the father's voice is actually me as Adam doing his father's voice. Some people never knew.
Actually, nobody knows that. I don't think.
Yes, that's my voice. Oh, yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm dead. Okay, I was alive, and now I'm dead. Because that's how...
None of the crew, the crew, they were all asking who the voice was, and it's Mark.
Well, the reason it's me, it's not just because I couldn't get somebody else to do it. It's because I feel like we know how our parents sound to us, and the voice that we hear when they pass is not necessarily their actual voice, it's the voice that we hear. So that's why I thought it was important not to just get an actor to play, or do the voice for Adam's father, but that it should actually be my voice.
I don't think anybody can live up to what you think your father sounded
Right.
like.
Nobody would. Right. Exactly. I would be like, nope, didn't that wasn't him. Nope. He was kind of like a cross, but like he had a little bit of a Yogi Bear. Not really. I exaggerate that a little bit, but it was really
It's
like.
adorable.
You have to be able to do this. You gotta go. That's kind of how my dad talks. Probably the biggest question we get, right, is it autobiographical?
Mhm.
And this first episode, yes, there are things that are very autobiographical. Uh, I don't live across the street from the apartment that I left 25 years ago to go to. Actually, in my case, I went to Chicago. In Adam's case, he goes to New York. We live around the corner from the place I left 25 years ago. That is, of course, one of my actual comedy CDs. The idea of this comic sort of at a point in his career where he's not sure he's ever going to get where he thought he'd go. Yeah, I'm not going to, I'll own up to that.
We
But
almost cut this out of the edit. This
oh
scene.
yeah, this is when Adam says goodbye officially on stage. I thought we didn't need it because we're about to cut to a scene where he's talking to Abby about how he's done with stand up. But I really feel like this adds something. You kind of need to see the moment.
I think it's
And
Adam's previous life, so we have to know where he's coming from.
right. I mean, also it's always bothered me because we didn't really handle sound properly in this scene. In the Magooby stuff, we were a little rushed. Which if you're a filmmaker at the DIY level, you're always a little rushed. Well, it doesn't matter what level, you're always
Yeah,
rushed.
right.
And we couldn't figure out how to patch into the board to get good sound. So the sound you're hearing when Adam and the other comic are on stage is actually coming through the PA. Countries, great. Thanks.
Babe,
Fine.
what happened?
Faced reality. Come on, I'm gonna drink. Let's go. This
This is the only scene that I couldn't be there for, and it bothers me a little bit that that table is shaking so much.
I remember we
would've
talked
pointed
about
that
the
out.
shaking table, and I just said it's fine because you
See?
do that.
I should have been there.
Because you would have said no, it's not fine. We have to do it again. So I really like the fact that we did this as a simple, but I think really effective and beautiful and really well framed two shot. This is husband and wife. This is husband pouring out his heart to his wife about where he is, where he's not. She's being supportive, and it all comes in this one scene. You have to know the dialogue to be able to do this. Which in film, a lot of times you learn enough lines they're going to change the camera angles anyway. But this is a scene that I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of the fact that we didn't go to close-ups or a lot of different angles. We do have a wide angle of this for the very beginning, so that could have established it differently, which I didn't use because I thought I looked fat in it. So I'd like to say it was all an aesthetic choice. But
Also, I was going through the edits, and in the wide, you actually drink the real bourbon.
freezing cold when we
Yes.
did this scene.
I got to wear a coat. You guys did not.
Doesn't look like it, but freezing. Bart Debicki, who plays Brian, one of the nicest guys in the world.
Love Bart.
Even he, though, for that scene, you could see him like, can we just fucking shoot this already?
Kind of do anyway.
Last night, I was hanging out with some friends.
And of course, this is
80-degree weather.
probably the most infamous scene in the whole first season because this was shot, as Maria just said, in 80-degree weather. We tried to shoot it earlier, like 2 months earlier, and we couldn't get The day that we wanted to get it, it was really crazy windy. Then we had technical problems with the camera.
So pretentious.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, you're a foodie. You only like good food,
Right.
and the rest of us, we're what exactly?
We're Adam and Abby. We much prefer bad food, right?
So this was shot in Hamden. If you look in the background, you can see that guy is wearing shorts.
And she's wearing a dress.
You can rewind if you need to go back to that, but there's a guy in the background wearing shorts. There was nothing we could do about it. This is also the scene where we came up with the name of our production company, Hold for Scooter Films, because as we were trying to shoot this, it was really crowded, busy, kind of a
It's a
happy
Friday night.
Friday or Saturday night. There was a guy on a scooter who just kept circling around, clearly wanting to get in the shot if he could. And I kept saying, as the director, okay, hold for Scooter, or the sound guy, hold for Scooter. So we decided to name our production company.
There's also a musical hearse that passed by
Right.
with lights and music blaring.
This Michael, Mike, why is I'm
Walls.
having Mike Walls? This was his shot idea, and it's really, really pretty. I really like the lights in the background. This is like one of the shots this and the shot earlier, where Adam and Abby are talking, and the cemetery scene too, is kind of where I really was like, wow, we can do this. We can actually make something for very little money that can look really good, provided you have talented actors like Nikki Estridge and Matthew Bowerman, who plays Greg, Danielle Davey, who you'll see in this scene, who plays Greg's girlfriend. These are really, really strong actors who really got their characters, and they really understood the rhythm of.
I think Matthew
Thespian.
Bowerman, who was the first person we cast, I think we exposed to the extremes of weather the most out of anybody. He's had to wear his boxers in the freezing cold. He's had to wear a coat.
I think, and this is
and
an
I would
episode.
say maybe Sasha
Yeah.
is tied.
Sasha, because of the dream sequence from a later episode that we'll talk about. That's in episode 5. This is our actual basement. 2 of my old headshots.
Please catch my beautiful Photoshop work.
Yep.
It's 15 seconds of fame, and it took me 2 hours to make.
Looks like a vintage Amtrak ticket.
You dwell too much. You should be happier on your birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry that I dwell.
Where's the bathroom?
I'm a dweller.
I'll show you.
It's in my dwelling.
One of the few lines improvised in the show is what I just said there about it's in my dwelling. That was not in the script. People say, well, it seems like the show is improvised, and most of it really isn't. Occasionally, we'll throw something in there, but for the most part, it's all scripted. I love the scene. I love the energy between the 2 brothers, and this is really important exposition. You kind of need to know where Adam was at that age in his early 20s before he found comedy and ended up going in a different direction. But I definitely feel, but when we actually cut this down, there was stuff about mozzarella sticks. There was more brotherly, fuck you, no fuck you. A lot of that got cut down because the scene was running too long. And I think this is a scene where I really, not that I didn't understand the difference between a play and a TV show or a film, but this is one of those scenes where when I wrote this, I just overwrote the hell out of it.
We were exhausted by this point. I remember Michael and I sitting on the stairs just ready to die.
We were also exhausted in the scene before this.
Yes.
Really, there was a lot of times where you get exhausted. Once again, we're back in our bathroom. This is the last scene of episode 1. And there are people in our bathtub, at least 2.
2, I think. Pat.
And a guy with a camera crammed into a corner. Our bathroom is tiny. And we still managed to pull this off. The end of the first episode. And you really, really believe in their marriage here, I think. And I think that's such an important part of the show that, yes, it's about a guy going through his version of a midlife crisis, but it's not the typical, I got to go find a younger version of my wife, or I've got to get
Or buy a Corvette.
Or buy a Corvette or something. I mean, first of all, Adam already has a younger version,
He's gonna, right.
Our age difference.
You're gonna date a 12-year-old.
But it's really I think it's really important that the primary relationship in this entire series is the one between Adam and Abby.
That last line was improvised, and I love it.
Oh, when I
Hello,
say
I'm an
"Hello,
actor."
I'm an actor. That's also the same voice I do when I talk to our dog.
Yes.
Well, there you have it. Episode 1 of Thespian. We'll be back soon with the commentary for episode 2. If you have any questions or thoughts about the episode, you can email us at thespianseries@gmail.com. This is going to be available. It is available. You're watching it now on YouTube. You can leave something in the comment section. Please catch all the episodes when you can.
Thanks for listening.
Tell your friends about the show. You know, if you've watched all the episodes on Amazon, if you could watch them again on YouTube. And
Join our fan club on
yes,
the website.
Newsletter, Thespian Series newsletter, and you'll get one of those special thanks really fast. And that's our logo. Thank you.
See ya.